Uh, I'm going to step back and take a look. I got to stop now, not necessarily because it's finished, I don't know. It's probably going to get some minor washes after. I don't think I want the figures any more than that. I think that's it, gentlemen. It's another painting. I normally don't sign. I sign because I have to sign. Name really isn't very important. It is to somebody who is buying your canvas, and he's not going to do it unless you have a signature on it, etc., etc. And so you have to pay to have this canvas shipped back to you, to sign it and ship it back to him, and it's already framed and back. It gets to be a real pain in the ass. So I signed. But as part of the natural part of a canvas, it doesn't really work for me. I prefer to sign it on the back if I have to. Well, let's go around the other way, and when I'm going to stand in front of this canvas.
Okay.
I think it's a wrap-up of this particular canvas. It's pretty close. There might be something else, but it's very, very close. And I don't know how it's going to work out in the cutting of the documentary and the film, but it's very possible this is going to be the end of the film, just as the beginning will be cutting the material and then putting gesso on, stapling it, gesso, and starting the painting, and then yak, yak, yak. I go off into all different areas and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's kind of fitting that it should start on a painting and finish on one. As to how long it takes me to do a canvas and whatnot, well, it's neither here nor there. That's not very important. It takes me all the years I've been painting, and probably takes me all the years I've been living. That same goes for any writer and anybody doing anything. It's a compendium. It's a total of everything they are, and that's what it is. So, if it's a wrap, let me go into a couple of things anyway that haven't been covered by me that directly in the film. Like, it's one life. I'm 83 years old, and maybe there's a lot in front, maybe there's a little in front. It doesn't really, I wouldn't say it doesn't make any difference and whatnot, but to me, it's not anything that's on my mind or any concern or worry. The life has been very, very full, and don't want to get piggish about it. On the other hand, for my wife, we're as close as any two people could be. And yeah, you're hurting others by going, so I'm not going to willingly do it and so on. I hang around and hope it's a long time. When she picked me up in a bar, 1953, in Louis in New York City, in the Village. She just took one look, and as women are wont to do sometimes, I guess, and said, "That's for me." I didn't know it. I had no idea. It's just, you know, I guess I was on the make, and that was it. And it made, and it stayed. And now it's 2007, and it's been everything to each of us in our lives. And all the family that came out of that, the two children that I had before by a first wife, Ellen, and our three children, Jessica, and our three children, yes, our three children. Jimmy was from a first marriage, and Marc was from a first marriage. Marc died at age 25 back in 1970, and I can say that's life, but it's with the heaviest of the heavy. There's no way to get out of it. There's no way to change it. It just exists, and you take it as something that you can work with and bring along and make them a part of, or it can be heavy and you can lose yourself. I chose to work. And then Lisa was born, Jessica's older sister, and Then Siri was born, and then Scotty was born. And when we went to Spain, when I started to paint, Lisa was already born, and Jessica, I'm sorry, and Siri as well. Scotty was a bump in the belly at that time on the way when I said, hey, no more film. I got to find out what I want to do. And after 6 months or whatever it was of playing chess, came up with the idea of painting. So there were 3 very young kids. And leaving for Spain with a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old and $650 and blah, 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 and not speaking the language and Franco's country, and here I am, a Sephardic Jew, or at least a Jew, and there is such a thing as the Inquisition back there. Very exciting, quite a move, and we did. We stayed for 28 years, and we would have been there right now and stayed for the rest of our lives if I hadn't run into some kind of physical problem that I had to come back and take care of here in the States. What counted in the life? Well, I did an interview a little while ago for the Veterans Project for the Library of Congress, and I went over it sort of in depth. Yeah, the things that turned me on seem to have come at age 13. I did this bike trip. I don't know how long it was. It was something like 500 miles up to the Canadian border, or a round trip or something. But I was 13 years old. Whatever it was a long way. And it stayed with me all the way. And everything was measured against the oneness and the aloneness of that. All of the over 500 trips back above tree line here in Aspen that I've taken, alone, 95% of them and whatnot, had to reach for that same feeling of being alone out there with nature in my own way. When I was bicycle riding in 1936, 1937, there were no cars on the road. All roads were 2 lanes, even the one going directly up the Connecticut River Valley, and so you didn't run into anyone. You passed 4 people a day or 6 people a day or something, and that was it. Well, I wouldn't say it's the same out in wilderness, but you sure don't run into anyone. And I feel one with it out in that kind of thing. True, I can't do it now, but you do something 500 times, and it's with you so embedded that it isn't very necessary that you keep on doing. There's a lot of things you don't get to do again, and a lot, but they're with you, and it's the same thing. And you use the energy for something else. So it was that, and I guess the joining of the ski troops in World War II and leaving college in the first semester had to do with the same thing, to reach for whatever that was. Although the whole country at the time, we were going down and down and down. The war was going very badly, and it was obvious, and everybody was in doing their part. Anyway, the ski troop experience was fantastic for me. And one thing in particular that I mentioned earlier, I think, which was the, from our training base in Camp Hale at 10,000 feet, coming over to Aspen in 4 days midwinter with 90-pound packs. That's just something you never forget. And as I'm working here, where I was on the floor and doing a canvas, and, oh, my knee is hurting or something, and you go to push up, and way, way back inside you say, cut out the bullshit, you know, get up and keep going. It's not a big deal. And most of this stuff is in our head. The time it gets to our body and you can't do something, you can't. Okay, and that's it.